Welcome back to the Talk Shop in Studio 255. I'm Eric Henderson. This program supported in part by Snowy Range Flea Market and Farm Stand, 1951 Snowy Range Road in West Laramie. They're celebrating on February 14th a trifecta celebration. It's the birthday, Valentine's Day, and 2-year anniversary day that's being celebrated at 1951 Snowy Range Road. Congratulations from all of us at the Talk Shop and Studio 255. In studio guests right now, Pam Brekken and Suzanne Luhr. I hijacked them for another segment. This segment, we talk about another great topic in the community. And if you hit that music button, it goes off, Eric. So sorry about that. I hope you understood that this segment brought to you by Snowy Range Flea Market and Farm Stand and their trifecta celebration on February 14th. We just finished talk about Relay for Life, the daffodil and tulip sales, but we've got another endeavor, another initiative that has had support and continues to ask for more support throughout our community, and that is Home on the Range Animal Haven. Pam Brekken, tell us about what's going on now in your organization.
Well, it's feeling like springtime. It's even though it's still wintertime. So we have 18 critters out there. They're enjoying this weather because they're not hunkered down in the barns in 20 below freezing, snowing weather. The one little hitch that we have, though, with all this nice weather is we lost our sponsor for hay this year because they didn't have enough hay to put up for their own folks.
And the feed store in West Laramie on Snowy Range has come forward with an amazing offer. Tell us the details.
They have. So if you want to help us out with hay, you can stop by the feed store and you can buy one bale, which is, I believe, $130. Or not $130. Oh, gosh, no, $13. Yeah, hay is expensive, but wow, not that expensive. So you can buy one bale, 2 bale, 3 bale, whatever, and if you buy a bundle, they give you a discount, and then our caregiver's son, Wade, goes out and picks up the hay and brings it out for our critters to get through this dry winter.
Home on the Range Animal Haven. Tell us about the organization itself. What's the mission of Home on the Range Animal Haven?
Well, we are a large animal sanctuary. Currently we have 18 animals, and they've all either been abandoned, abused, neglected. Their people have passed away. They've been passed around. So they land out at our place. We lease 40 acres of land, and they just get to hang out and be animals. We take care of them. We also work with different groups around the community that come out, and they'll bring clients out, big brothers, big sisters, ARC, Cathedral Home, counselors, veterans. They'll come out and do little projects, build some self-confidence and some group dynamics within the organization, and then they get to hang out with the animals and get some donkey love and goat kisses and yeah, so it's all good.
Are goat kisses like sandpaper?
Kind of. Well, they usually butt you. They don't usually kiss you. They come up and they'll butt you. So that's, if they like you, you get head butted, which
it's a tender touch.
It is, yeah. But the donkeys will nibble, actually. Yeah.
Nibble.
And eat your phones. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so there's a lot of excitement and in the
Yes.
adventure that is found participating with Time, Talent, and Treasure at Home on the Range Animal Haven. And we want to give a big shout out to the feed store in West Laramie, Snowy Range Road, the location. Danny, your entire business organization in serving the Laramie area since Glenn Moniz family had the feed store many moons ago, and continuing with pride and support for our community, the feed store and Home on the Range Animal Haven benefiting from that support of you individuals out there. And so this time, how you participate, how you can help, go directly to the feed store in West Laramie. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200, but take your 200 to the feed store and invest it 10x. Let's do 10x, $13 a bale, and let's get $130 plus of support for Home on the Range. I love to hear stories as they have happened, as they stick in your memory. what big influence? You talked about Cathedral Home and others visiting.
Mm-hmm.
What's a wonderful, unforgettable visitor story that you can share with us, Pam?
I remember a group of young adults came out from the Cathedral Home to do, I can't remember what they were doing, building a fence or something, and there was a group of 5 of them. And there was one young lady, and she was not really into the whole coming out and volunteering thing. So she was somewhat angsty and I don't really want to do this and whatnot. So did the chores, and then afterwards hooked up with one of our donkeys. And we always tell the stories about the donkeys. And this donkey had been abandoned up in the mountains after hunting season, and then found later in the spring, later in the spring in the bear pits, and his little his little hooves were little balls, and he'd just been abandoned, and the person had said, yeah, it was his donkey, but he didn't want him, so that's why he left him up there after hunting season, alone in the mountains over the winter. So we rescued the donkey, and when we were coming back from the barn, she had hooked up with this donkey and was talking to him and whatnot, and then the group would always come together, and the counselor would say, so what did we learn today, whatnot, and this particular young woman made the statement that even though these donkeys had bad lives and this guy was abandoned and no one wanted him, he's not a bad donkey. He just had a bad life. So that she made that connection that even though what's happened in the past, it wasn't your fault, and bad things may happen, but that doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Past occurrences did not demand future of the same. So
and then she came back about a month later, and her attitude had changed a little bit, and the counselor had said that she had kind of become more engaged and was working harder on herself, and so it was just that connection that the light bulb went on that bad things can happen, but that doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Suzanne, you are engaged in so many activities around the community. One such, do you have a home on the range Animal Haven story that you'd like to share, Suzanne?
Well, I've been out there to visit and lost track of all the animals' names. There's so many of them.
Yes.
But I love visiting the large animals. I used to have horses, and I miss them. So I haven't been out there more than that one time, though. But I have taken part in some of the fundraisers.
Yeah.
As moisture is so critically important for growing hay and feed for animals locally and throughout the county, this endeavor provided by the feed store is really an opportunity. If you come in and you make one payment for a bale of feed, then the feed store they'll collect all those monies, and they will notify Home on the Range Animal Haven of the credit that they have, and come and get it will be the order. You guys have staff that will go and get it, volunteer staff, and who's a paid individual at Home on the Range, if anyone?
The animals get paid by hay.
There you go. So
they're the ones getting paid. Yeah, they get paid by hay and love and supplements, and everything else is volunteers. And we operate on donations and some grants. We get a grant from the city, usually the Community Partners Grant, and from the county. We've gotten some grants from the Wyoming Foundation and First Interstate Bank. We always get a mini grant from them in the summer. They come out and do some work. It's a community.
It takes a village to raise our children, and in this case, to take care of donkeys and goats and so many other treasured animals. They had some bad history. They were left, perhaps abandoned, abused, but there's a place that they can go, and it's Home on the Range Animal Haven. And we appreciate both of you coming in for this segment. We've got one more on the Talk Shop coming up next after this.